where it is able to multiply the output so many times on the information system. It's not really the AI, even before the AI came along, that has been possible with the computer science. I'm telling you exactly like how you can distribute a website, one website, to a billion people. You see, when I create a website, it's in my laptop, but then anyone in the world can pull it up. So similarly, with the old photovoltaic cell, they were not digital. It was not digital stuff. It was analog. And we want digital photovoltaic cells, which can actually amplify the signal a billion times. Like the way one website can be seen by a billion people. Who's going to do that? Again, it's about funding science, that kind of science research. But I think they're doing it somewhere in Israel already, in Qatar. When you see all that work going on in Israel, but that science is stunted because they don't want it to get out. Because eventually, you see, there's this highway lobby and fossil fuel lobby, that material science lobby, which will lose its business in a flash. Just like the way newspaper broadcasters, newspapers and broadcasting stations lost their market when YouTube came along. Okay, the internet. Yes. So it's politics all over again. It's not that we cannot do it. It's doable. Yes, but it's require now it's the funding to fund such super scientists who are going to create that. You need money, and now they make it impossible to get money to pay for such talent. Okay. So I think we should get started. Maybe Becca. Hello, Becca. Is she here?
No, she's not, but I'm Claudius.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. I'm not used to, I use Google Meet,
Okay.
not Teams. How do you share? Are you getting my are you seeing a screen that I'm sharing?
You are showing a screen a few minutes ago, but I don't know now. Ask Frida. Frida, are you seeing a screen?
Yes, we can see his screen.
A screen of, with the map, the global map?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay, I think we're gonna get introductions then. Who is doing the introductions?
I will.
Okay. Go ahead, let's get started.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and my name is Barbara. I'm the Chief of Staff at Actuate Biomedicine, and thank you very much, Prof, for joining us today. So, to everyone, welcome to today's class on one of the most pressing and transformative topics of our time, Africa and the energy transition. And as we gather here today, we stand at a pivotal moment in history. Our world is facing unprecedented environmental challenges, and the transition to sustainable energy sources has become more urgent than ever. Africa, a continent rich in natural resources and diverse ecosystems, plays a critical role in this global transition. The energy landscape in Africa is characterized by immense potential and significant challenges. On one hand, Africa is endowed with vast renewable energy resources, from solar to wind to hydro and geothermal power. On the other hand, millions of people still lack access to reliable and affordable energy, which hampers economic development and quality of life. Today, we will explore the intricate dynamics of energy transition in Africa, and we're going to delve into the opportunities and challenges that come with shifting from traditional energy sources to cleaner, more sustainable alternatives. We will also discuss the role of policy, innovation, and international cooperation in driving this transition, as well as the impact on local communities, economies, and the environment at large. As we embark on this journey, it is essential that we recognize that the energy transition is not just a technical challenge, it is also a social and economic one, and it requires a holistic approach that considers the needs and aspirations of all stakeholders, including government, businesses, civil society, and most importantly, the people who will be directly affected by these changes. And I want to say that our goal today is to foster a deeper understanding of the complexities and potential of Africa's energy transition. And we are going to examine the case studies, analyze the data, and engage in thoughtful discussions to equip everyone with the knowledge and insights needed to contribute to a sustainable future. So I encourage each one of you to participate actively, ask questions, and share your perspectives. And together, can explore how Africa can harness its renewable energy potential, mitigate climate change, and achieve sustainable development for all. So thank you everyone once again for being here, and we're going to get started. So I'll give a brief overview of how the program is going to run today. And we are going to begin with our topic master, who is Professor Mbataru, after which we shall have additional notes and comments by our CEO, Dr. Masharia. And then we are going to get into the interactive Q&A session, after which we shall have the summit announcement by Augustine. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome our topic master, Professor Mbataru. You're very much welcome, Prof. Karibu.
Nimekaribia, asante sana. Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I suppose we are 6 hours ahead. You are in Massachusetts, or where
Yeah.
are you?
I'm in Massachusetts, only 1 p.m.
Oh, 1 p.m. So good afternoon. It's 8 p.m. in Kenya, in East Africa time. My name is Dr. Patrick Bataru, and I teach at Kenyatta University in Nairobi. I specialize and I do research on energy transition and sustainable development. I teach energy policy at Kenyatta University, but I also teach courses on energy at the Pan-African University, which is Africa-wide initiative of the African Union. We have centers in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, and Algeria. I go to Algeria, where I teach courses related to energy, mostly from socio-economic perspectives. I'm not a technical man. I'm from socio-economic research. I would like to say a word about my relationship with Dr. Richard Macharia. And this is now quite close because we went to high school together as small little boys. So when we were 12, 13 years, we went to the same high school, and for 4 years we were in the same class. What I remember, he was a very bright young man, beating us in biology and science subject. So it's no wonder that he ended up becoming a medical doctor. I branched off to social sciences. I became geography, humanities, and the aspects of economic geography. Later on, I specialized on energy and sustainable development. And now about this topic, which is very relevant today in the world. I guess you have heard about energy transition, transiting from what to what, transiting simply from fossil fuels to renewable energy. Fossil fuels is carbon emitting fuels. You have heard of carbon emission, and I should hazard a guess. The US uses about, 75% of energy sources. I'm not very sure about the statistics. It's from fossil fuels. You have a lot of oil and gas, and in Texas, down in Texas, Oklahoma, I think, and this fuels the American economy. Britain, much of Europe is also the economy of Europe is built and founded on fossil fuel over the last 200 years. Now, I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have seen this map. You can see this map. I think Frida has confirmed that I'm sharing a map. And this is a famous map by NASA. NASA, and this is a satellite image. It was taken from a very vantage point of view, showing the interconnectedness or connectivity of electricity around the world. You can clearly see that much of Africa is not connected. You can only see around the North Africa and then South Africa. And there is a sneaky part around the Nile in Egypt. Otherwise, much of the continent is literally in darkness. Why is this so? For obvious reason, the African continent has a lot of challenges in the energy provision, in access to clean, accessible, clean, renewable energy, affordable, reliable. Just as anywhere else, we deserve that. Africa deserves that. There is now what is being referred to as energy poverty, energy apartheid. You can clearly see there's a lot of brightness in Europe and in North America, and also in India. So what's the implication of this in health? We need energy, a lot of it, to store medicines. Dr. Richard will tell you that there's critical medicines that have to be stored under special conditions. We need energy to clean water. We need energy to clean water for human beings. We need energy also, in some cases, to rear some types of animals. Anyway, we need energy generally to have a decent life, and that has implication on the environment. Now, something comes up in the last 20 years telling us that Africa should not copy the West. It's like we are being told now, don't copy our ways. We have been very bad on the environment. We have not been so good on the environment, so don't copy our ways. There is a lot of sunshine in Sahara, in Africa. Why not use it? Now, Africa contributes less than 4% of global carbon emissions. But it pays dearly for the effects let me just give me 1 minute. I receive a call. That's critical. Just 1 minute, Frida, Dr. Hello, Wiruri. Rusio ni sawa?
rũciũ nĩ sawa.
nĩ ũgakĩngora nĩ ndũkĩo harĩa Kenyatta Road. Sawa, good, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry for that interruptions. I had to take that call. So Africa contributes about less than 4% of the global emission, and for obvious reasons, we pay for it. We pay much more for it. For global warming, we pay much for it. I don't want to go into details of the global warming, what it is, and whether it's there or not. That is not the issue. The issue is that there's something that is happening, has been happening in the environment that affect the socio-economic processes in all societies, and human economic activities have an obvious impact on that as a cause. Now, Africa contributing just 4% of this global emission is being told transition to renewable energy to save the globe. This 4%, 1/3 of it is actually emitted by South Africa here. South Africa, 80% of South Africa energy is from coal. A third probably in North Africa, from North Africa. The rest of Africa contributes about just 1%. Yet scientists and experts say that if Africa is to use more fossil fuel by just 5% of the current usage of fossil fuel, it would catapult African countries from lower income countries to upper middle income countries. I repeat, if Africa is able to exploit its fossil fuel potential, here we are talking of coal, abundance of coal, of natural gas, of crude oil. If Africa exploit 5% of current potential of fossil fuel, this would catapult African countries. And I'm using the word catapult for dramatic effect to middle or upper middle income countries. That means over 800 million people, 1 billion people would move from low income to upper income level with serious impact on their positive impact on their health in terms of nutrition, in terms of health awareness, health choices. Mothers able to feed their families, fathers able to feed their families, to take care of their families, in terms of eradicating poverty at household level by just adding 5% of the current use. And this 5% would not exceed 5% emission, would not exceed 5%, would not add more than 2% of net carbon emissions from Africa. We would move from 4% to 5%, or even less than 5%. Yes, global warming is there. Yes, carbon emission, human activities contribute tremendously on global warming. But should Africa sacrifice its development or potential for development objectives to save the world? There's a question. Should Africa, forfeit its opportunity to develop economically, to catch up with the rest of the world, with Europe, with America, with South America, with East Asia, by merely adding 5% of usage of fossil fuel, just to raise a significant majority of her people from poverty, just to save the world from global warming. Especially given that the developed countries, the US, Europe, actually have very little intention, hesitant to abandon the same fossil fuels. We saw this when what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine, and then eventually the Nord Stream gas supply was disrupted under the Black Sea. And we saw what happened. Germany quickly was relegated to almost a third world country, energy speaking. And quickly, the German parliament started discussing policies to revive decommissioned coal stations and coal mines. And we can see this desperation. We could see this desperation across Europe. And suddenly, global warming was forgotten. And suddenly, there were talks of building a gas line from oil fields of the Niger Delta to Europe. So how is this so? As we are talking, India doesn't give a damn. China doesn't give a damn about global warming. But when it comes to Africa, African programs to develop fossil fuel projects, gas projects, gas pipelines, suddenly become global, a global warming issue, and there are campaigns. I think the recent one is the pipeline from Uganda through Tanzania to the coastal city of Tanga. The pipeline that was proposed from Uganda, Lake Albert. Uganda has a lot of oil, and in the Albertine region, and it's proposed through Tanzania down to Tanga. And it's a lot of opposition. Suddenly, the funding is not available when it comes to development of these fossil fuel projects, and this does not happen anywhere else. At least not in the same sense of opposition as Africa faces when it comes to developing this funding fossil fuel projects. And again, I repeat, and let me be very, very clear about it. Global warming is real, and human activities have contributed a lot to global warming. That should be very clear, and the world should unite to to see how to to reduce carbon emissions. But still, the question that I asked, Africa needs to earn simply 5% usage. Funding is needed, 5% only to catapult Africa into higher income countries' economies. Currently, we already know, and we are seeing in this month, the amount of the amount or the connectivity in New York State alone. Connectivity in New York State alone is much higher than the whole of Africa connectivity. I mean, connectivity to the power grid. The amount of energy used to boil water using an electric kettle in Great Britain is the same. One morning in Great Britain, someone uses a kettle to boil water in the morning. That is the same amount of energy used by someone in Mali for a whole year. So, should we develop fossil fuel in Africa so that these people, so that this inequality in energy can be eliminated, or should we build solar panels across Africa? Solar panels, I'm talking about for solar panels. The current technology of solar panels, solar energy, is simply not capable of catapulting Africa to the desired socio-economic status conditions to change radically. Radically change African household economies. We need more than one solar panel to light a bulb, to light, to light, to charge a telephone. Because what has been promoted in Africa is that the solar panels is the holy grail. Solar panel is the whole good. Solar energy, small scale grids, it's holy grail for African development, especially in rural areas. It's like as Professor Mutiso says in her lecture that it's like we develop Africa solar panel, one solar panel at a time. The current solar technology can charge a telephone, can light bulbs in a modest house. It can even light a TV. But build that to run a small fridge, a refrigerator, to gas, to run a machine. For cottage industry, you need much more solar. Last week, I was talking to a dealer in Nairobi who specializes in solar energy technology, solar panels and batteries, and I wanted a system. We have serious issues with Kenya Power, the company that supplies us with electricity in Kenya. Serious connection problems, but this issue is about governance. It's not about generation. By the way, Kenya generates 92 up to 92% of Kenya energy in the grid. It's from fossil, not from renewable energy. It's solar, and it is solar, and there is wind. We have the biggest wind farm in Africa, allowed Lake Turkana. Turkana is allowed here. We use, we generate about 52% now from geothermal down in the Rift Valley. This is all renewable energy. That's fine and good. The other issue, but the issue is the governance of the electric supply that make it very difficult for us to have reliable energy. On Saturday, power disappeared in my estate at 8 p.m. on Friday at 8 p.m. and it was not back till the following on Saturday at around 9 a.m. So spent the whole night in darkness. And I have to scrub my rechargeable lamps and all this. So this is but these are issues. The issue of supply. The supply side is that we produce more than enough energy in Kenya, but the governance part of it, the issues, corruption, the issues of old and decaying infrastructure, and this make it very difficult for the end user to get reliable and and inexpensive electricity. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to convince people in the village that they need to save the planet by buying expensive solar panels. So my friend who sells solar panels in Nairobi told me simple calculations for what I need for my computer, for my refrigerator, for my I would require to spend about 3 million Kenyan shillings. 3 million Kenyan shillings. I don't know how many dollars, how much in dollar. That would be
about $26,000, $27,000.
$27,000. You know what? That is the same amount. It's more than it is more than what I would require. It's more than the cost of buying a transformer for myself.
Yeah.
For myself, yes. Kenya Power would sell a transformer to me if I wanted by 2 million, or even less than 2 million. Maybe one for my own use, it would be 800,000 Kenyan shillings, and then have stable supply of electricity. But you see, it's not by business, not the business of citizens, of consumers to buy such expensive electrical installations. The business of Kenya Power to do that. So the thing is, Africa transitioning from fossil fuels to the question of Africa transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy, including solar, including wind, gas, geothermal, ocean waves, and all these kind of things. Who is going to fund that? Who is going to fund that? It requires massive investment, and the world need to understand that it requires massive investment, and it is much cheaper to exploit and using, you're talking of using AI to leverage, what can be done to minimize carbon emissions, but still use fossil fuels, available fossil fuels, and there must be technology to do that, to make it much cleaner, but still, and put it in a way that Africa would benefit from fossil fuel by adding simply, about 4 to 5% of fossil fuel. This is not good politics at international level, but that is the reality of it all. And I would like to add there. There is much more to it. If you have any question, Frida, what is the next?
Thank you very much, Professor, for that wonderful presentation. It was very educational and informative, and we really appreciate you taking your time to take us through that topic on Africa and energy transition. We really appreciate that. So I'm going to take this opportunity to welcome our CEO, Dr. Macharia, to give a few remarks as we wait for questions. So, Dr. you're welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you. And long time ago, now Professor Bataro, when I was with him, he was not even a professor. We were just young Whooper Loompas there in the village, in school, doing stuff that children do. But now we're here. Thank you so much, Professor Bataro, for coming to join us and share your wisdom. That's great. And what you've been doing for years.
We have not met for 40 years, over 40 years, actually.
Can you believe that? And this life is eternal,
Yes.
So that's good. So what you have to, let me tell you, first of all, this thing about Europeans telling Africans to stop fossil fuel is a very disingenuous conversation. They're not truthful about it. They have no intention of stopping to use fossil fuels. Neither the Europeans, nor even Americans. As I was discussing with Professor Batao earlier, because I knew the people who run petroleum departments here in the United States. The biggest petroleum department in the United States is Texas A&M. Professor himself, the chairman of it, he told me, we are not going to stop using fossil fuel for the next 500 years. We're not talking about next year, not even in the year 2050. We are talking about the year, 500 years from today is 2524. Yeah. So, and he told me that I'm not going to lie to you. Nobody wants to stop using fossil fuel. As in, and where is it going to come from? He told me the petroleum deposit in this planet is so much you cannot finish it. And the engine today, the motor vehicle engine, the internal combustion engine, is so efficient, so good, and so powerful that there's no incentive to start creating something else. So they're not going to put money there. And then, of course, there are people with interest. They have invested in petroleum mining, these petrol companies, that they're not willing to let go of profits. It's only until recently the petroleum companies were the top, the companies with the highest valued company in this world. In the New York, in the Nasdaq, that in New York stock market, were first 5, all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, were petroleum companies. Yes. Following that, the most valuable companies were motor vehicle manufacturing companies. It's only until around 2010 that that's began to change. That now we have the information companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple Computers, heading up to number 1 up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have only been dethroned in the past 10 years. Those company has been the most valuable companies for decade after decade after decade since the 1960s. So then we're talking about telling them to stop making money and stop having a lot of money with their families and all that. They're not going to buy it. And these companies are what? This one, British Petroleum, you know it. is from England, Britain. Total from France. Then you know what? Which company? Shell from Norway. I think Shell. They're Netherlands or Norway, somewhere there. So even Germany has its own company. And this is why the talk they're telling us here is just a false alarm. They're not actually even interested in changing. They have absolutely no interest in changing. As what you saw when the Nord Stream pipeline was knocked out by Russia. So Russia actually knocked out the Nord Stream. What did Germany do? So let's go back to coal. And then what did France say? Let's go and build a pipeline from Niger Delta in Nigeria, going all the way through Mediterranean Ocean into France, until those guys in Mali refused, and Niger. So what I'm saying, the conversation that they're telling us, they're trying to feed us. We know them. They are called the Gentiles. They're very disingenuous. First of all, they colonized us. What they are saying, we do not want these Africans to come to middle income states. They wouldn't want us to develop. That's that. That's the first point. And the second point is that we can leapfrog all that. We don't actually need fossil fuels. Right now, as you said, that the money to implement renewable energy is very high. Who is going to finance that? And they know that because they're the ones who have the money. As you're saying in Uganda, they strangled that project for getting pipeline from Uganda to Tanga or somewhere, or to Dar es Salaam. I don't know where it was going. So they strangulate the process. It's intentional. There are two groups of people who are participating in that strangulation. Number one is that petroleum lobby, which has held the highest market cap for more than 40 years. I think no, it's a lot more than that, since 1960s. Okay. Second is the highway lobby in the United States. You cannot get through the highway lobby because there's a simple solution to all that petroleum consumption. It's reduce the number of motor vehicles on the road. But to reduce the number of motor vehicles on the road, you would have to reduce what? You'd have to shut down the car manufacturing car like Ford. You have to shut down Chevrolet. You have to shut down all those big car manufacturers. Now, if you do that in Japan, you have to shut down Toyota. You have to shut down Mercedes-Benz from Germany. Who is going to agree that in the United States, every year, they sell at least 20 million Toyotas per year? So and these are Toyotas that are consuming gasoline that fuel, from the tiny Toyotas to the gas guzzlers. And the people want to buy the gas guzzler. They actually make those gas guzzlers on purpose. And they advertise so they can consume more gas. So the story about Africa is going to increase global, it's going to increase carbon footprint and all that is complete nonsense. It's a false alarm that they are not actually even ready to admit. As you're saying, just boiling water with a kettle in London is the amount of money that somebody in Mali is spending a whole year. Just boiling water for 30 minutes, or even less, maybe 15 minutes. So we are kept in darkness, that poverty of energy on purpose, done on purpose. So solar energy, now solar panels, you see, somebody who has worked so hard about this is Elon Musk. Elon Musk saying that we need to move away from fossil fuels. And of course, he met serious resistance from the highway lobby, from the motor vehicle manufacturers. In fact, he could not even be able to manufacture the initial vehicles here in the United States. And he was given so many regulations. Elon Musk said that he had to pass through how many? More than 1,000, about 1,800 regulations. And I think that kind of tenacity of purpose with Elon Musk is what we need. I can't believe it. I mean, most people, if you find that the government is coming to you with 2 regulations or 3 regulations, you give up already. But Elon Musk said, bring them on. And so he has stayed with it until they have asked him for so many times, even inviting him to Congress to testify, just to try and discourage him, but he's not shaken, totally unshaken. And so he managed to make Tesla EVM, electric vehicle. And it's only after he managed to do that that you see now some companies in the United States, motor vehicle manufacturers, saying that they are going to create electric vehicles. And still, he still cannot hear the end of it, being beaten down. That where are you going to be charging this vehicle? If the battery is so weak, you can only drive for 20 miles and you have to charge again. But Elon Musk is unshaken. He keeps on going and going. He's making this more and more efficient. So what is required to get to there, like what Elon Musk is doing, is a lot of capital investment. I think there are people, individuals, who want this thing to happen. And those are the people who have bought Tesla stock. The Tesla in the beginning was only $1. It's about now $400 per share. And that's where the money comes from, the capital markets, the traditional way. But today, fortunately, we have the blockchain, decentralized finance, which is going to help us mobilize that money. Let me tell you now the question with these photovoltaic cells, the solar panels. Solar panels are not efficient. As what Patrick has told us, that a solar panel, to create solar panel that's going to give you sufficient energy, like a transformer, would cost you 3 to 4 times the price of one transformer from Kenya Power. And remember, you're buying it from Kenya Power, which means that it already comes with tariff, because Kenya Power does not make those transformers there. They import them from somewhere else. So if you bought it yourself, say from China, the transformer is going to be cheaper. But what is the problem? The problem, how can we solve it? The solution to this, first of all, the problem is the way the solar panels are designed today. The solar panels, in their mechanism of generating energy, is completely analog. Analog is like when you had the old telephones. Remember, we had a telephone, a copper wire. That telephone, only one person can speak to another person. You could not do a conference call. It was one-to-one, direct analog telephone. So that telephone was using a different technology system, transmission system, which was called TDMA, TDMA, Transition Division Multiple Access. And this TDMA, later on, it was overthrown by the information system. When the telecommunication became codified on the information system, it becomes computer code, like hypertext transfer protocol, which is called code division multiple access. What does a code division multiple access do? Right now, with CDMA, if I make a call to somebody, I can call one person. On the same device, I can call 100 people, like on WhatsApp, in a WhatsApp group, like what we are doing today right now. That I can be speaking to one person, but then the message goes to 100 people. Even it can go to 1 billion people. Think about the website. When I create a website on my laptop, before this information came around called the internet, if I create one document, I could only share it if I took my laptop to somebody else or for that person to see. But today, I can share that document on my laptop with billions of people at the same time. Why? Using the hypertext transfer protocol. Because we have come from analog to digital. Analog to digital. What the transition from analog to digital does is to amplify the output. So that if now when you're thinking about solar panel, this is why we need to invest the money in research, so that we can see how do we come from that analog photovoltaic cells to a digitally amplified solar panel. That when that solar panel receives 1 photon from the sunlight, it can amplify it 1 billion times. So the same energy you are going to get from one analog output, you are going to get 1 billion times that. What does that need? What do we need to get there? We just need some talented individuals there at KU, Department of Engineering. We need some talented individuals, University of Nairobi, Department of Engineering. We need some talented individuals from JQuat. Rather, it's just engineering. It doesn't require anything else. But to get that from it, to remove it, to extract it from the minds of talented individuals, you need funding because you need to protect them, the protected money, so that they can know they are not worrying about something else going wrong somewhere, but they are focused on answering that question. How do you make a multiplicative solar panel that's going to multiply one photon of energy and transmit, and the output is going to be 1 billion times more powerful? Just like when I send I create one document on a website, it gets outputted among 1 billion people, gets spread out. That's where now today, I'm glad to tell you that the question comes, how do you finance that? Where does funding come from? You can be certain the funding is not going to come from the Europeans because they don't want that to happen, because Shell, British Petroleum, Total, and Chevron, and such people, they are going to make sure they crash that idea, gets crashed. They have crashed it. They tried to crash Elon Musk, but Elon Musk is uncrashable. So we don't have to be as uncrashable as Elon Musk, but we have technology that is not crashable today for organizing the money. One is, the blockchain itself, like Actuate token. How do we use a token like Actuate to finance that type of research? Just what we are doing here. Usually it is not a big deal, is people buy that token because the token itself, we minted the token can be bought by millions and millions of people who are contributing not large quantities of money like $1 billion, but contributing $1 times 1 billion people, that's $1 billion. Or even $1,000 times 1 million people, that's another billion. So it is tokens themselves are possible to distribute. And that's why we want to enter into the universities and spread the word, the gospel, that we have the solution within our hands, that it doesn't take all that money. It takes a lot of people contributing a small quantities of money. Let me say this is now getting Harambe in a different way, but this Harambe helps us to raise money for scientific innovation. Okay. So on the blockchain, we're able to do what's called quadratic funding. And I think we can go back deep into these questions later, Patrick, so we can, and then we actually need to get all your students here, so and other people who would be interested in this question on how we assemble the money. The money will never come from the Europeans because they don't want that to happen, and it's not going to come from the Americans or something like that, but it's going to come from us ourselves because we have the money to fund these large capital projects, including capital projects that would end up looking like $1 billion projects. But we really are able to do it ourselves. And so 2 technologies then. The blockchain itself with the tokens, like what we have right now, and that's why even by the time we come to the summit in December, we shall solve that question, how we mobilize people to participate in the blockchain. And second, the information system. I mean, it's just saying that using code division, multiple access, that can amplify the signal 1 billion times. Even before we come to AI. Now imagine we have that, then we have AI on top of it. How powerful. See, the AI itself is an extension of the human mind. So with AI is going to help us do more research, find out how to answer these questions. We can ask the AI to help us ask the question, how can I design a solar panel that can amplify its output a billion times. See, asking a question like that from the AI. Then you can say to the AI, design for me that protocol. So, but you need to have an engineer who is watching those designs, gets a blueprint, like give me a blueprint for that protocol that will amplify one single photon to a billion times power. So, and then when you get that, then you say, give me the materials that I need to assemble together to put that type of solar panel so that it can work. See, so that's how we're going to use the AI to do. So we have three technologies. One, the blockchain itself to assemble the money. Number two, just the information system, the traditional way it is, the internet protocols. And third, the artificial intelligence. So that's what I say. The solution is here, is with us, unless, and this is what we want to explore very deeply, that by the summit in December, at least we start moving in that direction. Because you can be certain that the petroleum lobby and the highway lobby will never let this go, because it's a very disingenuous conversation. Why I see a lot of hope is similar to the cell phone, let's say telecommunication revolution that happens in the early 2000s in Kenya, for example. By 1999, there were only 4,000 registered telephone lines in Kenya. 4,000. And then some guys came to the World Bank and told the World Bank that we want to create a cell phone company that's going to sell, mobile phones to the people. And the guys at the World Bank said, are you out of your mind? Those people in Kenya, they have only 4,000 registered telephone lines and you're selling them, you've got a market there. So they dismissed them and told them that there is no market for communication in that country. People don't talk to one another. Yeah, can you believe that? That's in Washington, D.C. Now, they were dissed out and kicked out of there. And eventually they managed to convince Vodafone, which is Vodacom in South Africa, to invest in them and it was Safaricom. In just a few months, Safaricom coming in, there were more than 4 million registered telephone lines. And today, that 4 million have become what, like 20-something million people. So, and then the people who never had access to telephone, now they have mobile phones. That's called leapfrogging. So not even a transition. So we should not really talk about energy transition in Africa. It's a leapfrogging, the fossil fuel to clean energy direct, but that's going to take some serious capital investment. This serious capital investment, we are able to arrange it with the decentralized finance only if people, people understand how decentralized finance works. That's why we have to spread the gospel, the good news. So what you're going to need, there's going to be always the naysayers, the negative people, like what the World Bank say that those people don't need to talk to one another. There's no market for mobile phones. But only after 1 year or two, there were 4 million subscribers to Safaricom. And right now, there are many more millions. Where did they come from? But then they had to build up the system. Where did the investment come from? Since Safaricom, Vodacom invested money to create a company, then they sold shares in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Today, we don't have to go through that process, even selling shares in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. We have tokens, we make tokens available, we raise money using tokens, and then we can start funding research, development, and implementation itself. It's a hard job, but we are hard people, because the opposite is that we stay in darkness. They want us to be in darkness. And then the final thing I'll say about the blockchain itself, so the governance question. Patrick, you said to us that it's not that we are not generating enough energy, but you have problem with the governance of the energy transmission. So when you have the blockchain, we have, say we do quadratic funding, the people themselves who are participants in the funding process participate in the governance. So the governance does not come from a few people who are the top, who are running the organization badly. And so these are conversations we have been exploring here in Actuate, and even the governance system using quadratic funding mechanism and retroactive public good funding. And would like to unpack this in greater detail. So particularly if you can help us reach out more people who are doing this work, so we can see how to mobilize funding, because the funding is already in the country. It's just not collected together. Okay, back to you, Barbara, and thank you so much, Patrick, for the conversation.
Karibu sana.
Mhm.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey, hey,
Thank you.
welcome.
Sorry, there was a problem with the buses for my area.
Okay, so make a question.
Okay.
Did you help Patrick to open a wallet?
We were supposed to do so today.
Hey, Patrick, however are you going to get on the blockchain without a wallet?
I'll make sure I send the instructions.
You can show him.
Will it cost me anything?
Yeah,
No,
it costs you time, attention. I mean, few minutes.
Time,
Even-
attention.
Nothing monetary, just your time.
Okay.
The wallet won't cost
It's
you
like
anything.
opening up a Safaricom account, M-Pesa.
Now,
But it's a wallet. It's a crypto wallet where you keep your crypto. So that's what we mean.
okay.
You see,
Yeah.
one thing we'll say about that wallet, Patrick, is that this wallet is like a gateway to the blockchain, where the blockchain is the one that is storing all these tokens. And for teaching us today, you're going to receive some tokens.
Oh.
That is the reward for teaching, because this is e-learn incentivized teaching program. You get incentive, but the purpose for giving you tokens or sending tokens to you is to help you to learn how to interact with the tokens. Because to learn to interact with the tokens, you have to create a wallet to receive the tokens. And after you receive those, after you create the wallet, you learn about the wallet address, which is called the public key. And then you learn about the private key, which is secret. That private key, you want to keep it very safe. It's like in the holy of holies, because you don't want anybody seeing it, because that's like your own bank. And then how you use that wallet to access the finance market. It's like going to the New York Stock Exchange, right in your phone. Yeah, that now you can get access to the decentralized finance market. And these tokens themselves you receive, these are the ones I'm saying that we use them for composing a fundraising program, because people can buy those tokens from anywhere in the world, and the money comes into one pool, and that pool is used for funding projects. So the second thing is that money, those tokens you have, you can put them in liquidity pools. Liquidity pools that the tokens you receive can begin earning you money. It's called passive income. Yes. You now become like an investment banker, because investment bankers, all they do is you take your money to them, and then they use your money to trade. So this work of investment banking has been decentralized. That's available to everybody in the world, anywhere, in any country. Yeah. So that's what you're talking about. That's now the information system that has taken over even the finance system. That the investment bank itself has become your cell phone. Yeah. So there's a lot of things to learn. So if we learn this thing very well, the wallets, the tokens themselves, the wallet, the liquidity pools, you will find that raising the money for that energy transition, which they're calling transition, let me call it energy leapfrog event, it's not gonna be a difficult process. Yeah. It's like sending a message on WhatsApp. Okay. So back to you, Becca.
All right, thank you. I hope you've understood, and we will set up a time to create the wallet. If you have any questions, you can also ask right now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If maybe I could make a comment. I want to agree that maybe the biggest challenge we're facing right now is the lack of funds. And if you could find a way to mobilize a lot of funds, even getting electricity with those solar panels will not be that hard. I recently saw a documentary about a floating solar farm in China, and they were saying that it could power 50 companies and also electricity for like that locality. So what a floating farm is like, you could install some solar panels on, let's say, a dam, and then yeah, it's more beneficial compared to installing them on land, because you get twice as much electricity, because you see you're getting the power. Okay, you're getting the light from the sun, and still when it is reflected on the water, you can be able to also harness that electricity that is reflected. So you see, it's more efficient. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. More efficient. So yeah, the biggest problem is funding and mobilizing those funds.
I'm sure we're going to mobilize the funds. So, but you think it's double-sided.
Yeah, double-sided. So
We can
when
put it on Lake Naivasha.
yeah,
there is all that, which is well nice. There are also, proposals to cover the whole of, or at least a lot of Sahara, to put the panels over Sahara. Why not? But it begs the question, what is the whole purpose of Sahara? Is a plain question. It's not just a desert. It is part and parcel of the global ecosystem. You interfere with what is Sahara the way it is right now, and you interfere with the Amazon because they are interconnected. The weed blows, the Hamatan weeds, the weeds that blow over Sahara actually transport a lot of nutrients. The sand is blown all the way down to the Amazon rainforest, and you interfere with that, then you have a global catastrophe. You put solar panels over Lake Naivasha, interferes with evaporation and the system, and that's it. Even a simple dam, you need. It's actually down to the system theory. The system theory. That law of thermodynamics. If a system is not giving to the environment, it will soon reach maximum entropy.
but just to ask about the dam, wouldn't it be beneficial, since you're trying to prevent evaporation? Like, even when people build dams, they install like covers to prevent that water from evaporating. Yeah, so instead of just installing covers, you can install solar panels.
Yeah, of course. So there give and takes and take. Okay, maybe a dam, a simple dam, that could be it. But over a whole lake, there will be issues of circulation.
Yeah, a whole lake is not a good idea because, of course, it interferes with the climate. And then create a new climate, and yeah, the ecosystem is very distant. So, on a dam, small scale, that I think that's reasonable. But it has to be a dam that's not occupying, say, more than maybe 5 acres. Like Chinga Dam. Chinga Dam is so big. That now would be. I'm thinking that the solution in this is now to interrogate very deep the information system, so we can have very highly potent solar panels that are multiplying, amplifying, because there are people who know how to do that already. It's not a secret. Why isn't it being implemented? It's not being implemented because there are people who do not want it to be implemented. See? Because this is the whole thing. These people are known as material scientists. Materials, and they are material. Then they can come in causing false alarm that if those Africans become too many, they are going to finish for us the material. These are Europeans. So they have their materials, they have materialist superstitions that it is that I know, because I know they do this in Israel. Israel is very advanced in its technology, information tech for water and energy itself. Israel also, being in a sunny, dry place, they use a lot of solar energy even for its irrigation and crops. But they don't lay acres upon acres of solar panels. They use solar panels with high, microchips, computer chips that are able to multiply the signal multiple times. That becomes very, very efficient. Because these are Israelis, they have done that. That knowledge is not secret. This is why we want to challenge the people in colleges and research centers in Africa to think about that. The solution is not outside us. Even the money is not outside there. The money is within. I'm saying this because I know, because for example, the amount of money that Kenya alone receives from the diaspora is like half of the Kenyan gross domestic product, 50%. I don't know what the GDP today is about, what, $70 billion. Half of that money is sent by people in the diaspora. And that is money coming even from outside. What about the local people, the money they're generating? Can that be sufficient to fund research and development if it is well composed? Yeah, with good understanding of how the blockchain money works. I think these solutions are within us, they are at hand. That's why we have to interrogate this question very, very deep. Such that the young people, called the Gen Zs. So he also said about Gen Zs, solution to the what's it called? The budget, the budget, the finance bill. They were stating about the solution is in decentralized finance, because that is centralized money, but they have the power, the way they're using the Web2 technologies to talk to Mr. Zakayo is the way they need to do Web3, which is the blockchain itself, to go into decentralized finance. And when they understand decentralized finance, this whole finance bill will look like it was a joke. What were we complaining about? Like, it doesn't even matter. Yeah. So that's why it is a very serious, very important thing, so that we can stop listening to people like IMF who tell us to create a finance bill, people like the European Union who tell us to go into energy transition to clean energy, when they themselves have absolutely no intention of transitioning to anything. And so it's just talking down to us both ways, whether it's in finance, the finance bill from an IMF, or it's energy transition from the European Union. Yeah, it's disingenuous. All right, this is a very exciting topic. So Patrick, you can see this is a great conversation, and
Yes.
how we explore how we can do this. Bring more students. You have students who are interested in this topic.
Yes, yes, unfortunately, actually, because I had a very, very busy day, I actually forgot to invite them. Sorry, next time. I think we should arrange another session.
I think we should. What I think we should do is unpack this thing all, because there's so many things to talk about. Because
Yes, sure.
we unpack it, even the young students understand what is available for them. Yeah,
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you.
because we are grandfathers, Mr. Batari, you know. After
Yes,
that, we want all
yeah,
all the grandchildren to take full benefit of this.
yes, yeah. Thank
How
you
about
for making me feel quite.
I'm saying I'm saying that we are grandfathers in knowledge, nothing else.
Actually, literally, I am a grandfather.
We are not grandfathers in any other way except in knowledge.
Well, yeah, we are. I have a grandson, actually.
Oh, you know, that's great.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you see now we have a duty to
Are all these people in Kenya, or are some of them are in the US?
I don't know who is here, I can't see who is but I think many of them are in Kenya, but I can't tell.
Is the Grace Gary, Professor Grace Gary, or Gary? Professor Grace?
Chris Gary is in KU with you over there. She's in health sciences.
Oh, because we have a colleague, Professor Gary.
But let Grace introduce herself. Hi, Grace. I don't know if she's muted.
No problem. Yes, so yes, what's next?
Okay, well, I think they had said, and now we actually talked a lot, but we said Augustine is going to give us a brief about the summit. Then after that, we can close. Augustine.
Augustine is currently held up. Maybe
Yeah.
Diana can step in as the co-president of the summit.
Okay, Diana.
Hello, Diana.
You know this thing with the blackout in Kenya, you cannot know what's going on. So, but basically, I think we have been having updates about the summit. This is a summit, Patrick, that's going to be in KU in December 6th. It's about using blockchain, decentralized finance, and artificial intelligence for health and human development. So that summit, already we have about almost 100 speakers now. It's only 4 days. So it's going to be a summit with podium presentations and also workshops. And we're going to have a workshop on environmental health. So we can unpack this. And we'd like to unpack this all the way to the end. So actually you can help us invite all the people you know, in this energy transition conversation, so we can come and explore deeper, even how we can use AI and decentralized finance for energy, for leapfrogging energy in Africa, because that's what we need to do. Like we leapfrog telecommunication. Okay, so that's one thing. The rest of the summit would be medical, because we have surgeons and physicians and pharmacists. And then we're going to be having many workshops in those areas. And then, of course, health access itself, which is, you could say, administration, like what they do in health sciences, health services. So far, we have so many speakers who have agreed to come. And right now, this month, we are working on on exhibitors. For example, that friend of yours who sells solar panels, he can come and show people about, because there's a great number of people who may be willing to buy those solar panels. He can come and exhibit. So you can tell him, and also he can come also and maybe speak to our people at the workshop on environmental health. Environment, yeah. And so I think Becca here is the one who's in charge of environment health, so she'll give you full detail of how people can participate in that workshop itself. Yes, and all the people interested in energy transition, as they're calling it, let's invite them from the entire African continent. because I think eventually we may have 800 people coming to KU for this summit. And because this, so that we can focus on these solutions themselves, which is how do we organize the money through the decentralized finance systems of the blockchain, and then how we use artificial intelligence to advance research and development. And so then we have people who are sponsors, the people who have deep pockets and they would like to advertise a lot in our summit. They can come in as sponsor, and that's great. But then also colleagues would like to come and speak and share their ideas with people in the world. So because the summit, it's we wanted to have a multidisciplinary, it's about human development. So we're inviting people from all kinds of disciplines who want to participate in, you could say, development itself, human development. How do you develop the how do I would say economic development, but it's not economics. It's about productivity. And so that's why we have engineers, we have computer scientists, doctors, social scientists, policymakers, all kinds of people coming together. It's going to be a very beautiful event. I can already feel it. And then, of course, we're going to be inviting people from here, Boston, in the United States, who are also doing this kind of work to come there. Because following this summit, we shall have a similar summit in Boston next year. Okay. So then for young people, the Gen Zs, for you all Gen Zs who are here, we invite you to create posters, poster presentation, to come and share your ideas, particularly what you have talked about today. See, do a lot of research. Now you have a lot of AI that can help you answer questions. How can you multiply? How can you amplify the output from one photovoltaic cell so that it is actually producing billions times energy instead of having it work in analog way? Now, if you're in engineering, that would be a very great project, because then the next thing is, how do you finance that? Then we can work on that using quadratic funding, retroactive public good funding, to find out how we can raise money to support such ideas. Now, if you make a poster, the poster is going to be reviewed by other people attending the summit. And people, if they like your idea, they'll vote yes, they give you. And then the winning posters, the posters will not win, but the people who created the winning idea will come to Boston. They will get a scholarship to come to Boston to show their work at the global stage. See? And Boston, is the epicenter for science, technology, engineering, mathematics, translation, and also biomedical translation. And all what we're talking about today, a lot of it comes out of Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So you have you have opportunity to come and showcase your work here in Boston. Yeah. So that is the brief of the summit, and it's coming up very well. We have so many people interested in showing up, and let's make a very huge festival in KU. And we invite as many people as possible. Okay, back to you, Becca.
All right, thank you. As Doc has mentioned about the summit, I hope you were able to grasp everything he said, and we invite you and also your colleagues to teach us about renewable sources of energies and how Africa can transition as well. So, as we've also mentioned, this is a learn to earn program. So each class is incentivized. We offer Actuate tokens for it. So I shall be sending the attendance form in our chat room so that it can be filled out and tokens can be allocated to each of the members as well. So I shall be sending the form right now, and I'll be giving 5 minutes for it to be filled out. And thank you everybody for joining us today and for joining us every week for our Learn to Earn programs and your commitment to learning and bettering your environment as well. So thank you. I have sent the form.
Thank you, leader.
If
Thank you so
anyone
much,
has any
Patrick.
question, please feel free to ask as well. And thank you, Patrick, for your presentation and your insights as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank
And
you.
good afternoon for me.
Good evening.
Good
Yes.
evening.
Let's stay in touch.